And if there's any country that is richer than, in terms of mineral resources, than any country in Africa, it is Venezuela. Anywhere there is wealth, bonds. Be careful. Be careful so that lest they seem to be bringing help, but the idea is to penetrate and keep you bounded.
That young man of God was now saying that there's no genocide, that what US wants to do is to take our resources. A young man of God. That young preacher who is saying that US is coming to take our resources has not been to the north to minister. He doesn't know the north. These guys, when they are invited to the north, they stop at Abuja.
Everyone who is complicit in any aspect of this country, from the highest leadership to the lowest, anyone who has a hand in it, Father, judge them, judge their generation.
Radical. So I hear all kinds of talk now. I see commentary online. They have paid Pastor Suleman. That's why he's quiet. They gave him money.
I think it's only somebody that is blind that will say that Christians are not being killed in Nigeria.
I warned this nation 2015 that we are heading for crisis and trauma.
I grew up in northern Nigeria. My father was a pastor with the Assemblies of God Church. One morning we just woke up in Assemblies of God Church, Samaru Zaria. This somewhere adjacent the north gate of Samaru Zaria. My father was a pastor.
All right, guys, I want to welcome you back to church today. And here in this video, we'll be showing you the response of some men of God here who reacted concerning the recent comment of Donald Trump of the United States threatening military action in Nigeria. And we have a video of Pastor Femi Lazarus that broke the internet, and a lot of people are talking about this. And also we have some men of God here in Nigeria who also reacted to the video of Pastor Femi Lazarus. Recently we have Dr. Abel Damina in his own response, and we have some men of God who vertically confronted Pastor Femi Lazarus about his own view concerning Christian genocide in Nigeria. So guys, I want us to listen carefully and sit down quietly as I bring you reaction and counter reaction about this particular subject matter. All right, guys, let us watch this video.
Okay, it is not innocent. It is not innocent. When Goodluck Jonathan was in power, Nigeria needed to buy certain things to use in fighting that battle. The one who blocked us was America. We got machineries from a country, I don't want to mention that country, that was busy, and they were having victories in Sambisa, other places. The one who asked them to be sacked later was America. They are showing interest because they know that will divide the country. Then they can come in. Anywhere they step, bonds. We have our internal problem, but we should, hey, you know, it is difficult to talk to Nigerians. And if there's any country that is richer than, in terms of mineral resources, than any country in Africa, it is Venezuela. Anywhere there is wealth, bonds. Be careful. Be careful so that lest they seem to be bringing help, but the idea is to penetrate and keep you bounded. There are countries that once they complain about your country, you are doing something right. We need people who are informed. See, starve your distraction.
Young man of God spoke about the genocide in this nation, and his page was yanked out. Another young man of God was now saying that there's no genocide, that what US wants to do is to take our resources. A young man of God. That young preacher who is saying that US is coming to take our resources has not been to the north to minister. He doesn't know the north. These guys, when they are invited to the north, they stop at Abuja. If the Lord has called you guys, come to Yobe and speak the name of, let's see, come to Kano. They will talk about living and dying for Jesus' birth. Their plane only lands in Abuja, not even in Kuje. It's in Abuja town, airport road, near the airport. Anything happens, they move to the airport back. A A man had been crying. He cried and said, Trump, look at this matter. And a young preacher who has more days to live is saying that US will only come and sabotage this nation. It means that his wickedness has just been revealed. He doesn't have the brotherhood in heart of his brethren that live in the north. He has detached himself from the cry of that man and those in the north, in Benue, in Nasarawa, in Taraba, in Kaduna here, in Plateau. The cry of these brethren in the north doesn't cause sleepless night for these guys. They are wicked.
Who has value, values value. Valuable people value value. Human life is valuable. It is valued by all valuable people. From the cradle, if you go to the hospital and you see how doctors battle to save the life of a newborn baby. One life, 1 day old. Professors of medicine, consultants, 40, 50 years, pediatricians. They are running, sweating.
Value for life. Value for life.
To battle to save the life of one person. And then you have some placeless vagabonds, valueless non-entities, roaming from place to place, homeless, valueless, placeless, taking life away without qualms. We are going to ask the God to whom vengeance belongs to arise and purge this land of these valueless entities, these worthless entities, this generation of vagabonds. Father, clean the land, and everyone who has a hand in it, everyone who is complicit in any aspect of this country, from the highest leadership to the lowest, anyone who has a hand in it, Father, judge them, judge their generation.
Who can pay me? Nobody can pay me. The government doesn't have the kind of money I'm looking for. I'm being honest. No government has the money. Do you know what I spend in a week? I give money more than politicians. Are you following me? Who can pay me? Nobody can pay me. But I've grown. No, I've grown. When I discovered that what I say, just a statement from me, makes people rich. They are carrying it, they are spreading it, they are being rich. I said, I will not empower people anymore. I'll be quiet. No, I will not empower you anymore. I'll be quiet. So right now, they're not bringing old videos. He said this one time. No, you empower them. No.
And I can assure you, one of the greatest problems most African leaders have is to have sycophants around them who tell them what they want to hear. Misinformation, not telling them the reality on ground. And I believe that if he knows the reality on ground, he will do what is needful. And I could remember Reverend Dachom Ezekiel, and I think it's only somebody that is blind that will say that Christians are not being killed in Nigeria. Christians are being killed in Nigeria, and so also Muslims are being killed. But the truth of the matter is that the way there's mass burial about Christians in this country is much. And I don't know why. I don't know if it is true that Khan was dismissing that. I don't know if it is true, but if that is true, I think the leadership of Khan should go and make a good investigation about that. Are we saying that to incite a misunderstanding among believers or the country? No, we're saying that we know the government of the day have tried their best so much to degrade all that is happening in terms of terrorist attack and the rest. They can do more better, even more than this. So I think they should investigate and look down. I know that believers have been killed, that are receiving real bad treatment. We see it. I have reverend friends that are calling me from some zones. Plateau State is the home of peace and tourism. There are a lot of things that are happening, and it's condemnable for anybody to sit down and say that Christians are not being killed. They are being killed. And that's not to put the current government in a bad light, but that's to make sure that our security operative hear the cry of the people in the zone. And the truth is, we need to do something about it. But in the terms of the declaration of President Trump, I don't want to go into those politics. My concern is to just see how believers are saved and not go in. Because you see, all these international politics, they have their dimension and their turn. So it's very important that we pray that believers are safe in Nigeria.
We need to pray for this nation. Now, it's not experience that makes a prophet. It's a call. I warned this nation 2015 that we are heading for crisis and trauma. Many were washing their mouth. Some of them are off today. God does not require consensus to raise a prophet. I saw a nation going down the drain. I cried. There are many prophets of politicians who speak what they want to hear. A mobic tanori and gekonian over. Watch. I have been very silent. What we need now is not a leader, it's a deliverer. And I'm telling you the truth. Almost nothing remains except the church that can be called a nation. Now listen, I'm saying this, you can see it yourself. What event will any system run in Nigeria that will bring 50 nations together? No. The only thing of value to the world today is the church in Nigeria. Economy battered. Security zero. Ameko prekangaka. Sir, 100 million of you can keep me silent. 100 million of you can keep me silent. Lord, send us a deliverer. You see, send us. Send us a. I'm not a beneficiary of zero from government. Amaka kopi karate sango. I've been called into the prophetic before they started doing their politics.
Yes, sir.
So it's not part of it. Mapa, there's nothing I've said about this land that has failed. Kakompi keto, embrankankata. Now, the destiny of Nigeria is hanging. It's hanging. It's hanging. The money distributors are busy distributing. Yes, they are never tired. Ameko praketanora. Church all over the world. Diaspora, in Sapora, wherever you are. You love Nigeria. Lift up your voice. God, send us a deliverer and give us rest again.
But I'm speaking as a victim of these gruesome circumstances around the Nigerian people, where innocent lives have been taken away by some people who think they have more right than others in this nation. And some people have reduced it to herders and farmers clash. No, sir. This has been ongoing. I grew up in northern Nigeria. My father was a pastor with the Assemblies of God Church. One morning we just woke up in Assemblies of God Church, Samaru Zaria, somewhere adjacent the north gate of Samaru Zaria. My father was a pastor. All of a sudden we woke up in the morning, no provocation, nothing. And the next thing we were hearing was people were just running all over our house and the church with machetes and all of that. The next thing was they started pouring petrol all over the building, both the church and the house, because our house was attached to the church. And the next thing was flames. Everything was burned right down to ashes. We narrowly escaped, found a place where we could shelter ourselves in the military barracks. Eventually, they brought us back to the lecturers' quarters of ABU Zaria. And we had to camp with a family for weeks and months before we could rebuild and start life all over again. That is long. I'm talking about 1986, 87. What about the Metasine situation? Metasine was a sect of the Islamic religion who went around burning and destroying and killing Christians back in the 80s. This is far before there was anything like farmers and herders clash. Then fast forward. What about in the year 2000, where over 2,000 people were killed in Kaduna? Year 2000. What about the over 300 people that were victims of the Miss World in November 2002? All of them, they were not a part of the Miss World. They were just on their own. Something happened somewhere else and they became victims of it. Lives were killed, houses were destroyed. And whenever they are carrying out this charade, they will be shouting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And they will carry their matches and carry whatever they have. And they will move in their numbers. They will move in their numbers. And everybody on their way that is not chanting what they are chanting becomes a victim. I can go on and on. A few years ago, I was preaching in Kaduna for a great man of God. And I only succeeded in preaching Sunday morning service. After the service, the next morning, as we were preparing for the next service on Monday, the next thing I was hearing was the whole city is on fire. Kaduna is on fire. Please stay in the hotel room. Don't come out. They are killing, they are burning churches. They are killing everybody. That is how we were stuck in a hotel. Even in the hotel, we were not sure of ourselves because they were going from hotel to hotel, room to room, killing people that were not chanting Allahu Akbar. And somehow, God saved our souls. After about 4 days, we were able to leave Kaduna. But unfortunately, a friend of mine who was a pastor, Reverend Northcote Andrew of blessed memory, was caught in the midst of this as he was escaping for his life. They caught him because he was wearing a collar of a bishop. They hacked him to death, dug the ground, buried him and put a cross there. It is that little wooden cross that made people know that there was a corpse in that place. And this, my friend, was buried. These are real life situations. So for somebody to just sit down in the comfort of his home, maybe somewhere in the south, and be saying there's no such thing in northern Nigeria, my brother, you've not been a part of it. We've been right in the heart of the fire. I remembered one night, these Muslim boys were all over the place in my school, and they were shouting Allahu Akbar. They were looking for me. I had to escape. That night, my saving grace was that I found a female hostel and I slept under the bed. By the next day, I left town. For what? I did nothing. No provocation. Just because I am preaching the gospel. And of course, some of them believe that once you are not of the Islamic faith, you are an infidel. And they believe that if you kill an infidel, you will sleep with 7 virgins. All of this kind of indoctrination that leads to violence at the slightest provocation. Whether it has to do with the people or not, you just get on the streets. What about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade? I'm talking about the Reinhard Bonnke crusade in Kano, where people were hacked, macheted, and killed just because a crusade where the gospel of Christ was going to be preached. And that is why I thank God for people like President Donald Trump, who lent his voice to what is going on here. At least, for whatever is what, there's an ongoing conversation all over the world. The matter is no more put under the carpet. And we don't want just conversations. We want some action. We want some action. And in the midst of all this, it snowballed into the herders and farmers clash. It snowballed into banditry, and everything becomes very complicated. Very complicated. And people are dying by the day. There are people in northern Nigeria, places like Borno State, places like Plateau State, places like Benue State, places like southern Kaduna, where whole villages have been taken over by some of these bandits, by some of these Islamic extremists, by some of these Boko Haram people. They've taken over whole villages, driven the villagers away. And somebody said there is no such thing in Nigeria. Why do we have IDP camps? Why do we have IDP camps? When we never had an earthquake, we never had an earth tremor, why do we have IDP camps when there is no natural disaster? Other than the fact that people are being made victims of what they have no knowledge of. In a secular state like Nigeria, where all religions are permitted to be practiced, this ought not to be allowed. This ought not to be allowed at all. Our government have a duty. Now, when you live in a country like that, where you don't know what becomes of you the next day, you go out, you don't know if you're going to come back. When you go to church, you're not sure if you're going to come back. When you live in such a country, it's almost as if there's no government. And because the first responsibility of government is security of lives and properties. That's the first responsibility of government. Whether at the federal level, at the state level, or at the local government level. Because the population don't have access to arms. But unfortunately, some of these bandits, some of these terrorists, some of these extremists, they are carrying AK-47s. And you wonder, where did they get them from? In fact, it's unfortunate that at a point in Nigeria, there was even a local government in Borno State where Boko Haram drove all our Nigerian security forces and put their flag there. is very unfortunate. And the government of Nigeria need to do something quickly. Otherwise, where this is taking us to, we do not know. This has to come to an end. The ADP camps need to be emptied. Let people go back to their homes. Let people go back to their villages. Let people go back to their farmlands. Let people go back to their habitations so that they can live normal lives. So they can live the life they are supposed to live on earth. You know, this is very important. And this conversation is so critical at this time. And it's critical that I add my voice to it as a victim of this situation in a country like Nigeria. And I'm believing God that the day has come when this menace will surely come to an end. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Amen.
All right, guys, welcome back. What do you think? Have different opinion concerning this particular subject of Christian genocide in Nigeria? Recently, we have comment from our Daddy G.O. Papa Adeboye. He released his own message, and we have comment from PFM about Bishop Wale Oke, and a lot of men of God here in Nigeria commented and taking sides, giving their own view, their own perspectives concerning this. All right, guys, what do you think? So whatever you have to relate to us, let us continue the conversation in the comment section. Don't forget to join us here for more videos. Don't forget to like our content. Don't forget to share it. And most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe here. I will see you in another video.